Hey everybody, welcome back to Laptop Seniors. Today I'm going to go to the computer and I'm going to take out a Google Maps and I'm going to start dissecting Panama City for you. I'll tell you why. Because we get emails a lot, and I just got one day before from a couple. First time going to Panama City, where do I stay? And they weren't asking for hotels or Airbnbs, they were asking about hotels and Airbnbs, but essentially what area? And, and I'm marrying this to a video that I saw when we were interested in going to Istanbul that we never got to go. But I happened to see a guy who was doing a video on Istanbul, and he did what I'm about to show you. What he did was, and I'll explain what I'm going to do, so maybe you're interested, maybe you're not. He brought up a Google Maps of Istanbul, okay? And I'm going to do the same of Panama City. And then he went area by area of, if you're coming here, this is where I think you should stay if you're here for the very first time. And he went through with pretty decent specifics about the areas that he thought you should be in, and not only be in to stay, but also if you're there and you got time to visit. So I'll give you an example. So he was like, this is Istanbul's old town. This is their old city, kind of like Casco, Viejo in Panama City. And it's like, if you go in here, you definitely should see it. This is where the pickpockets are. There's a little bit of theft in there, but it's a fun area. You really should see it. But if you're going to stay in Istanbul, I wouldn't stay here any more than 2 days, 2 nights, and that's it. And it's like, okay, good to know. Thanks. And then he moved to the area just above that. And he goes, this is close proximity. You can walk into it if you want to be there more than 2 nights, but you should, if you're interested in doing that, you would stay here. This one is sort of like the suburbs. This one is where, it's super hip and all the bars and things are. This one is blah, 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 blah. And he was going through them all, and I thought, this is great. He went on for about a half hour. I'm not going to go that long. But at the end of it, I thought, wow, I felt like I lived there. It's just like I knew exactly where to go, where not to go. He was actually also pointing out areas. It's like, yeah, you don't really want to go into here at all. So I'm only going to talk about what we actually know. And ultimately what I'm going to do for you, if you're coming to Panama City for the very first time and you're a little apprehensive, foreign country, I don't know, is it safe, it's safe in all the areas I'm going to tell you, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, here's Panama City, these areas are pretty good, no qualms, but first time recommendation, I'd go right here. I'd be in this area. I'm going to show you the streets. So if you're looking for anything, just look for this area and you're going to be golden, okay? Anything in this area that I'm going to show you, to me, that's where you'd want to go for the first time. Once you're here for a while, you get a feel for the other areas and you go like, oh, if I come back, I can be over there, or over there, or over there, okay? So let's go to the computer right now and I will bring up Google Maps and then we'll start talking about area after area and give you some suggestions. Okay, let's start directly at the beginning because I'm doing this video really specifically for people who have never been to Panama, never been to Panama City, and that's your entry point pretty much for visas or anything else. So if you're a newbie, this whole thing is for you. Okay, so you're gonna come up here. This is the airport, Crown Plaza Panama Airport, where you see that written here. This is the airport. It's a really nice airport also. And you can get a taxi there or you can get an Uber there. Either is fine. I find we like to take the Ubers from there because you don't have to deal with money and tip and all that other stuff. It's handled by the app. You do it all within that. The only downside is when you show up, you're going to have data. So you might need to get an eSIM ahead of time, and then it'll activate at the airport when it sees the correct carrier. Anyway, you're going to get into taxi, whatever kind of taxi it is, and they're going to take you out to this highway where it says 1. This is the one that goes across from one side of Panama to the other. And you're going to take it in and you're going to go by a whole bunch of, nice suburbs and areas that look really good. And then you're going to start to get into the city a bit with, Costa del Este. And then you'll keep going. Then you're going to cross over this waterway, which is really cool. It's awesome to see because the ocean's on one side. There's a lagoon on this side. Sometimes this will be just mud because the tide is out, and the tide goes out to about here, seemingly. And then other times it's in and it'll be, super high. Anyway, you're going to come in and then you're going to get into the city. Okay, so We're going to concentrate on this area. So I'm going to move this map up a little bit, and I'm going to blow it up just a bit because I want to show you something. Now, one of the areas that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to do that first, is down in here, which is where Casco Viejo is. It's the old town. So let's go right in on that right now. Okay, see this area right in here, that beige color? This is Old Town, Casco Viejo. And it's a really awesome area and safe. Matter of fact, they have 4 different kinds of police forces in here. They have a tourist police, they have a Old Town Casco Viejo police, they have federal police, and because one of the areas up in this area is sort of where the Panamanian White House is where the president of the country is. So obviously this whole area is crazy safe, and it's neat. The only downside of this area, really, I mean, it's really cool. You should 100% visit it for sure. Is if you stayed here for like 7 days or 2 weeks or something, you may love it, but one, it's going to be a bit expensive. There'll be a lot of tourists here, and at night there's a lot of because there's a lot of bars and nightclubs on the top of a lot of these buildings where they have like discos and that sort of stuff. So it's super happening, but it can be really loud at night. But it is a fantastic area. Okay, and for sure you should definitely see it. And this area is going to be definitely all around the water here, just so you're aware. If you're going to be, here, let me zoom in a little bit more. If so, and this is just my recommendation. Okay, you can do whatever you like, but when you come into Old Town, the cab's going to come in here and drive around, and then they're going to make a turn right here. This will be government buildings in this area. They're going to make a turn right here and start coming down into Casco Viejo. Personally, I would not go over any farther than this street if you're looking for some place to stay. Okay? And usually this is a really neat park, and they're building stuff up over here. Okay? And the buildings, new buildings, not brand new buildings, but they refurbish these 400-year-old buildings until they look spectacularly new. That's what most of this all is. But as you start to get away, it hasn't been done, and it kind of looks like a pretty grim, grungy area out in here, depending on where you are and how much work they've done on it. So I would stay inside this street from here over, okay, from here over, or I'd go out one more street, maybe 1.5, and that'd be about it. So I would basically come down through here, okay? Casco Viejo. You will definitely like it here. It's very safe. The only downside, if you're coming for a visa, you're a bit away from where you need to go for a visa, because when you need to go for a visa is going to be way up in here somewhere. Okay, so let's go back down into the main part of the city. This is where generally, if you see from where this juts out, and then there's the yacht club, and then where this juts out, okay, you want to be in between here, roughly. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So, and this is sort of like the heart of the downtown, real nice looking, get a good feel for the city area. Okay. These 2 areas over here are nice. Actually, as far over as this, from the water right on this side. Here, let me move this over so you can see from this whole area that juts out. This is Punta Patia and Punta Pacifica. These are really nice areas, but they're out of the way, and you're going to need a cab to get over into this area, into here and up in this area, different places that you're going to have to go or want to go or whatever. So I won't say they're isolated, but for your first time here, I wouldn't bother. Now, staying out here a little bit, just for future reference, this is a great area. If you come back again, good area. Up in here, this is called San Francisco, and this is a really good area. And basically, there's a gigantic, super upper end mall here called Multiplaza Panama Mall. It's beautiful mall. Over in this area, it doesn't look all like, it's okay, but it's like, I don't know, not a great first impression of the city. If you come out this side of the mall, you're in San Francisco, and this area just looks nicer. There is a lot of restaurants, and they're really nice, and it's a really nice area up in here. If you're going to be in here, I would stay sort of like in this area. I wouldn't get too many blocks away from the mall. And let's go to another area up here. Above, see where it says El Carmen Subway right here? There's this church. Let me see if I can click on it. It doesn't show it very well. Yeah, okay, it does. This church, Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church, this is a iconic church, an iconic place within the city. People know where it is, and it's neat. Right directly across the street from this is a subway stop, which is great if you want to go somewhere. This is going to be Avenue España, okay, and it runs, pretty far distance through the city. This area up here, from basically Mount Carmen, the church, up to, let's just say, Via Argentina, also another subway stop. And you can probably go a little bit farther than that, up to Brazil. But in here, up to this dark blue line, which is a little bit more of a highway, this is El Cangrejo. You probably have heard of this a bunch of times. Lots of expats up here. Great place to live. Lots of restaurants, bars, you name it, everything is up here. It's a really nice area, and you could definitely stay up here, and you're not super out of the way of anything. Definitely a choice. Again, first time I wouldn't stay here. I would try to push you toward a bit, an even nicer area. I was going to say better, but it's not better, it's just nicer. This area up here is called Obarrio and kind of bleeds into a thing called Marbella. That sort of starts kind of around in here. The areas they're totally fine. They're nice. You get sort of some older buildings in with some newer buildings, so you get like a mixed bag of look. And it may or may not, depending on exactly where your place you're staying is, it might give you a not so great impression of the city, and that would be wrong. Totally fine. Actually, almost to sum up a little bit of where we've gone so far, all of this is totally fine. But where I'm telling you I think is the place to be, and it's not going to cost any more, or maybe if it is, it's only going to be a little bit more, is right in this area, and that is generally the area between this park and this park over here. Pull out a little bit so you get a better feel. So you want to be between this park, and you want to go up maybe about to Calle 50 or 50, 51 or something. I mean, 51 has got the W Panama, which is a spectacular hotel. So you can go all the way up to Avenue España, in the church, El Carmen. All good. All of this is really, really nice. I would personally stay, again, between Calle 50 and the water. And I'd go over to, I don't think I'd go beyond the Hotel Rio. Okay, and I might not even go that far. I'd be sort of in this area. So essentially this area I would stay within here. I guarantee you that if you're between those two parks, and if you wanted to go down a little bit farther because you're looking for some place to stay and you see some sort of Airbnb and it looks great, oh my God, this looks awesome, right price and all that, you can venture past this park, as long, close to the water, venture past the park, maybe 2 streets, 3 streets. I'd go down to maybe 40th. Personally, I think I'd want to stay within the first 2. It's not that it gets unsafe or anything. It just starts to look a little grungier. Although you are on the water, how bad can that look? You're staring at the ocean with a park across it. It looks spectacular, really, all the way down here. When you're down here. But as you start, let me just move down. Let's say I'm down this far, and you start to move away from the water. All of a sudden, it doesn't look so good in here. It looks a little grim. Okay. Everything's older. It's not really been, rehabbed all that much. Or up in here, a lot of that stuff has. So let's go back and I'll see if I can zoom in and get both of these in here. So again, from this park, Parque Uraca, over to, let's just say the water here. And right here's the huge mall, a multi-central mall. This is a really nice hotel, right next to it. So again, I would be in this area right here. I would go up to Calle 50 or maybe 51, maybe even 52. And I would come over to this particular area over here and, and then back down to the water. So this would be the area to stay in. And I'll show you why. Because in here, this is all really nice restaurants and hotels. So right over here is the Intercontinental. Right in here is the Meridian. This is where we stayed. A lot of these are Airbnbs that are for rent. We stayed right in here, which is the U Arts building. And it's Azahar. That's funny. They don't actually say U, but this restaurant is in the building. bunch of really nice restaurants, crepes and waffles, behind the U, because the U building, and as does a lot of these other buildings, they go from one street to another. They go from here to there. The buildings go straight through. Right behind there's a market here, foodie market, which is nice. So you need groceries because you're in an Airbnb. Totally cool. Waldorf, you can't really see it on here, but neat restaurant here. Londoner pub there. Restaurant. There's restaurants all over this place, and they're nice. And when you get up into this area, again, there's nice things up in here too, but it starts to get a little sparser, although there are here and there a couple of spectacular restaurants like this one, as you go a little bit higher. And then it sort of just becomes sort of just condos and not much restaurants and other things, and then you hit Avenida España, and then you cross that, and now you're into El Cangrejo, and then everything restarts up again. But you lose the view of the water, and that adds an enormous amount to how much you like or dislike the city. Everything is all good, super safe, lots of restaurants, great walking if you want to go out for a jog. It's parked for I don't know, 4 or 5 kilometers, and it's just nice. That's the area I would say you should be staying in. Your first impressions of Panama City are going to be, oh my God, I love this place. I didn't want you to show up somewhere that's going to be totally fine, but it'll be like, well, this is okay, and this is okay, or well, this is nice, or, this is not so nice. So I was trying to give you, I want to come back and live here. That's pretty much it. Hopefully when you arrive, you will get that impression too. Pretty sure you probably will. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. That always helps the channel. I think we're pushing almost 18,000 subscribers now. I think we're like 100 people away, something like that. If you haven't subscribed yet, that would be fantastic. Super appreciate it. And until the next video, thanks for watching. Ooh.